Yeah, man. This is the part where Trina may leave the room.
No, Trina, stay. Stay.
Trina leave the room.
Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Victor Allen's New Sports. Written, directed, and produced by the bald-headed black man, the man the ladies have nicknamed Sexual Chocolate. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Vic. Black man.
You know what? I can't stand that intro, man. What's up, Trina? What's up? I can't stand that intro. That's okay. Welcome, you guys. This is New Sports. You know how we do it is to talk around sports. Well, this is just talk. And if it's sports and it goes off in the other directions, that's why it's new. It's always new and refreshing to those who want to pay attention. Let me give a shout out to those who are out there who are not running to the refrigerators to get some tasties and some munchies. But
Trina, stay with the sports.
She's not going to stay with it. Stewardie's got to go. All right, she got her Valentine's gift. Now she's going to go on to the next. Happy Valentine's Day. All right, you know what? They've been talking about this subject I'm about to bring to you as it references three men who are definitely going to be considered the three best all time. And two of them have yet to have a career that has come to an end. And you can't help but to get the comparisons between LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant. Now, everybody knows that as time passes, you tend to not remember as much about the comparison. And
exactly.
I'm going to come back to another story of what I use as my comparison, but I want to find out other people's thoughts on this. Because, one, LeBron is being exposed to something that a lot of younger people have not seen exacted any other time if you go beyond, say, Michael Jordan. Kobe, of course, is more present day in the elder statesman. And LeBron is the new wave as it relates to what we're seeing. And Mike is just Mike because he's the heir, and he has said, I am the measurement. But we've had measurements in the past, and to this day, there's one that stands out. But, of course, none of you guys have seen him. And if you have, you only seen him in black and white. And still, he is the pinnacle of all championships, second to none. And it's not Phil Jackson, it's Bill Russell. No one ever seen somebody like that, ever, play at his size as a center. The biggest defensive stopper against centers probably of all time.
Till Chamberlain.
Until Chamberlain, but when he got to his rebounds and defense, when it came to Chamberlain, he continued to win championships. 13 total in all. So 13 is the measuring stick, but unfortunately we didn't get to see Bill, so it's not relative. So here's my question.
And the fact that he did do it against Chamberlain still makes him one of the members, because he always will be remembered as the smaller man,
right,
taking it to the bigger man.
He was a little bit taller than LeBron. He was only 6'10".
Right. Phenomenal. So right. I'd never take nothing away from Bill Russell.
No.
It's just that's one of the most, even though time is, like you said, diminished the start.
Right.
At one point in time, that was one of the most intense rivalries in sports.
Thank you.
Will Chamberlain versus Bill Russell.
Right. And there's always those ongoing ones. So here's my question to you guys. I said, if we had to start somewhere, or we have some criteria here that I wanted to get involved in and try to find out, can we have the discussion? When NBA career is over, compare Kobe and LeBron to MJ. And it doesn't matter what order, because it's kind of hard because, MJ's already closed out. But then you have to look at LeBron, and then you have to look at Kobe. So here's the criteria I tossed up, and I want to see if people can answer in one word what best describes each player. I had championships, which is everybody is measured against. You also have endorsements, scoring, makes players better, played with limited talent, played on team entire career, strongest, fastest, leader, the period in time you play or played, ranked the ladies' man. Now, let me tell you the thing that most people say, well, what does ranking the ladies' man have anything to do with it? If you don't think it has anything to do with motivation,
selling tickets.
Put yourself on a basketball court and see what are the couple of things that you want to do on your top 3 list if you're a superstar pro basketball player. What do you want to do first? And put them in order. And see if affecting a lady, I'll say a lady, is not in the top 3. Now, Mario, here it is. If you had to describe one word in each of these players, could you come up with one?
I don't know.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think that LeBron has the greatest physical gifts.
Right.
I think that Michael Jordan was still the most intense competitor of the three.
Right.
And I think, though, that Kobe is in other ways, one of the most acrobatic, and again, they all have these qualities too.
Right.
I mean, Kobe's extreme competitor, except when you compare him to Jordan. I think then Jordan becomes the one.
All right.
But other than that, so no, but I think these are the ways that you end up comparing them in terms of endorsements.
Right.
It's interesting because I didn't realize till just recently, after reading some things, that Michael Jordan essentially invented the whole the sports branded sneaker market. You could say reinvented it. He was the one who actually made it happen.
Right.
And it was his shoes that turned around an entire industry, rewrote the industry.
Right.
To take the whole Michael Jordan probably single-handedly affected athletic branding more than any other sports figure in history.
Right.
To the benefit of LeBron and Kobe.
Right.
But he's really where it was invented, the whole tennis shoe. And I think the whole funny thing is that he really wanted Adidas or something like that, right?
Right. Yeah, at that time, because that was a flavor.
That was the flavor, and he couldn't get them. They turned him down.
Right. So here,
and Nike became. But anyway, so there's a whole historical part of this to me that Jordan gets. But you get that by virtue of being older.
Right.
To some degree. I mean, I don't want to take away but Vic, I think it's a wonderful. And then again, they all are ladies' men. Even though I think, for the most part, what they all have in common is they all have attempted to keep that part of their lives relatively quiet, and actually did fairly considering.
Well, let's just do this. Let Trina, if you had to, I know she don't want to get involved in this, but Trina, if you don't even follow sports, and you actually had to do an eye test, and the eye test is to look at the men and say, where are the women, who they talk about the most as it relates to eye candy? Because this is broken down to eye candy. The power of the ball is already there. But if it was eye candy, who was the measurement? And it's interesting, Mario, what do we hear the women talk about as it relates to a player? I'm pretty shocked sometimes that I don't hear the LeBron thing as much from women. Now, maybe because I'm not.
I don't have that conversation enough. Michael Jordan had a different air about him. In other words, who comes off the hardest? I mean, kind of hard.
That's what I'm saying.
Jordan does, to me, way over.
Right.
Kobe, that to me is like someone he's like trying to convince you he's hard. He's not.
Right.
But even though I think he's very competitive, and the same thing with LeBron. They're just not of that mentality, I think. I don't think very few of the players today are of that mentality.
I'm going to tell you who I think a lot of women actually, just me now, I think Kobe. Because they judge him on a different criteria, although we judge him as for the things that happened between him and Shaq. But I'm shocked. That's why I said I was shocked about this when I said Kobe. You hear about the women. Even before the stuff went down, as it relates to his whole thing back in Colorado, they'll sit there and say, because Jordan was it, from as far as I knew. But then Kobe surprised me how many stuck with him. So
that's like, there's a historical precedence for all of those.
You know what?
One thing that people do forgive you for is sexual indiscretion.
That's right, they do.
They that fades really quickly with time.
Well, read what Trina just blasted in the chat room, Mario. I want to hear your words as you repeat what she said.
Kobe is a beast. Yeah, I guess.
See, you don't want to agree.
I guess
you got to stay impartial.
I guess
you got to stay impartial right now, man. Right?
Like I said, it's
You can't say anything. See,
it's a different time. It's a different time. It's a different time. And when you come from a different time and a different era, you just have a whole different thing.
Well, let me just say this. Let's just take it up to this point, and then I'll give you a little bit of what I think is happening. Because here's all the categories, and let's just go down them quickly without doing a lot of explaining, and just say, when I say the term, you just say the name that applies to it quickly, Mario. It'll just be you and I right now. So let me just start at the list. If I say championships, who do you think of?
Jordan.
Endorsements.
Jordan.
Scoring.
Kobe.
Makes players better.
LeBron.
Played with limited talent.
I don't know. None of them. They all play with reasonable talent to me.
But see,
okay,
You got to be careful now.
I don't know, because that's to be proven. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard.
To me, that's a matter of perspective. The Lakers want to cry that tone. I don't believe it.
Right.
I would say neither to me, because even the Chicago teams, they were. I don't know.
Okay, I'll say at this time of his career, I'll say LeBron is trailing both of them, but his career is yet to be completed as well. So,
and I go like he still plays on a wonderful team to me
in the last 2 years.
Well, it's all a matter of perspective, right?
Right.
I mean, you make it to the playoffs.
Okay. So let me go next one. Okay, strongest, fastest, and leader combined. See, it's a tough one, ain't it? LeBron. You consider him a leader?
I think he's a better leader than Kobe.
Okay, what about Michael? So you got to look at.
I think he's a leader, but it's a different time, and there was also a different way people responded to things.
Right.
So that Michael Jordan was more of a leader through intimidation,
right,
than either one of the other two.
Right.
Okay. Now, whether you want to credit that's another whole discussion. Okay.
Right. Okay.
But he certainly was more in your face all the time in practice every day.
Right.
He was known for that.
Right. And they give him a lot of credit for being a great leader by other examples. So I agree.
Playing when he was sick, and you know. So I don't know. That's why I said those. I'd have to be there to judge that. I can't say.
Right. I got you. All right. The period in time you play or played in, if you had to turn around the toughest period, was it Michael's, LeBron's, or Kobe's?
Probably Michael's.
Even,
much more competitive teams.
Right.
The Knicks, Starks, there were key matchups that Michael Jordan, Kobe too, but again, it's not even fair, and it's a whole different thing now because we have to actually consider Kobe's in more of his later years.
That's right.
So you had to give him a little break on some of these things too. So that's part of the whole issue. So, I don't know. It's a close one.
I'm sorry. Mac is on a different conversation with Trina. I'm going to leave that one alone right now. Somewhere he's got peanut butter and jelly in his mix. Trina, be careful.
Remember.
Be careful. Be careful. Don't go there.
Everybody gets to go where they want to go.
Right. All right, let me do this one. Here's the one.
Right, the ladies' man.
Well, we already did that.
I
started that first. Right. Now, let me tell you the part that I got involved in as it relates to what I considered. I go in periods. And I say the time you played in is definitely a consideration. The defense, the athleticism, everything is better now. Way better than when you go
steroids.
Right. Now I'm not getting into that. I'm not going to get back into that.
PEDs.
It was a lot more physical back then, but they're more athletic and better defense individually now. I mean, everybody knows you can win with a smaller team with quickness and push and just harassment in a different way, but you can't really put your hands on them, so you have to be quicker and faster. Here's the part that I'm measuring. I thought there were two big periods of great big men. When Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played against each other, they were all Hall of Famers and icons. So imagine they're always playing with each other. Then I took that second period of big men with Shaq, Tim Duncan, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Olajuwon. They're all Hall of Famers.
I throw in my boy from Miami.
Alonzo.
I throw Alonzo in there.
So during that period, they played against what they call all Hall of Famers at that time. So I said, that's the second big period to me where you say, here's the guys that played against the best. Right now, we're in a drought when it comes to big men.
Right, we are. We actually are.
In a drought.
And a style of play that's affecting all that too, Vic.
That's right. The other part I put on this is people talk about LeBron because it's true. You've never seen anyone like him.
The most physical gift. Born with size, speed, all that.
But we saw a train called Karl Malone. You didn't get in his way, and he just didn't handle the pill. But he could play his defense. He was muscling up. If you had to tell me the biggest impact player on a stature that's just second to none, leading the rebounding category, scoring, doing whatever, and running with the speed of a locomotive, Charles Barkley. So I had to say, I've never seen anyone like that size, dominate underneath for his size. So it's a different measurement. Got it.
Versus Adrian Dantley.
Right. Adrian Dantley, too.
You got to keep Dantley in there, Hall of Famer, for the same reason. Smaller.
Right.
But, man, set a style of play.
Right.
undeniable.
Right. Now, so what I did is I said to compare Kobe was able to play in an area, an arena where a lot of the Hall of Fame players still existed. A lot of them are gone now, with except Tim Duncan right now. So if you say LeBron right now, if you had to say which Hall of Famers is he going in and day out against him in his stature, in his position, name Hall of Fame players right now that's playing right now that he has to play against on a day-to-day basis.
On a day-to-day...
Think about it.
On a day... Well, you got a couple of Hall of Famers, but now they're on his team. I was going to say Allen, the guard.
Ray Allen Small, not his stature.
But I'm just saying you said Hall of Famer,
I'm saying Hall of Famer at his position that he has to play.
Guard. I mean, because he's a Hall of Famer.
Right. Yes,
he will be so you have to first think who's a Hall of Famer at guard.
And playing at a power forward, dominate, he plays all
nobody,
positions.
because remember, that's my whole point why I think he represents the change.
Right.
There is no one like that.
But they said that about Michael, too.
Well,
they said that about Magic.
I don't say no, but no, Magic also fit certain. No, I think it applies to Magic. It doesn't apply to Michael.
Right.
There are other people physically his size and more at that time. Magic was actually one of the beginners. The herald.
6'9". No one ever saw 6'9".
Yeah, Magic heralded a whole new thing. No, Magic did. Magic totally did. That's what Magic and LeBron are more alike.
Right.
Even though, to me, still, LeBron upped that.
Right.
And even Magic kind of says that.
Right. And I agree. What I'm saying, why I left it as it's incomplete, is rank. That's why I said.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ranking the players he's playing against now, that it's like Shaquille O'Neal. Every day he went to Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning, Akeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan. I mean, right now, if you say, give me the physical players in the league I got to play against, who are now destined for Hall of Fame status.
Well, I think you got a few now.
Many.
Well, I mean, the question is, what do you count as many? Because there are a number of people now that I'm really watching,
right?
Because you have sort of a changing of the guard, and so because of that, it's not just that Oklahoma has two of them,
right,
that are probably going to be Hall of Famers. Okay, I still think when you look around even now at even Brooklyn and some of the other teams. So I don't know. I think it's being determined because the new style of play changes everything a little bit.
And what is happening here is I agree. The part we know for now, it's hard to say he's a definite Hall of Famer. You knew it with David Robinson. You knew it with Akeem Olajuwon. You knew it. It's hard to name big men who are in the middle with you at your size that you have to compete with and go like, how many are there right now? And I said, there's probably two I can name.
But here's the thing, since they automatically choose really for the most part the best of a group. If you're in a slower group, you still go, right?
Yeah. That's why I say it's just a low. I think the Hall of Fame group that LeBron is playing it with now that will go to the Hall is weaker in comparison to what Kobe has played against and with what MJ played against.
Those are the kind of things I always say, generationally, people have an issue with that. I just think it's sort of to be determined because it is a different style of ball.
Absolutely.
Right? Mutombo should be in the Hall of Fame, right?
For wagging his finger.
All right, that's another conversation.
All right, let's go to I call this the tidbit moment. I think there's always conversation that you just have to be involved in it because it's necessary. And I think the Super Bowl has taken on a new level. And I think when you get the terminology that brands your name, you have to hear how you've grown to be the big pimp in the building. And Mario can relate with this, so we're going to talk about that famous one.
I got to relate with it.
O.J. Simpson reportedly throws Super Bowl jail party. Now, a friend of his quoted, and I say quote, he's like the godfather of prison now.
We got money.
Everybody wants to be around the O.J.
Even the private warden.
So he has an 80 square foot cell. Everybody gets in there. And then they watch the Super Bowl. My question to you, Mario, when you are the godfather of prison, godfathers have all the tangible things that go along with the term godfather. Does OJ have women or women that just think they're women?
Excuse me, I know what you're talking about. You mean men who think they're women? All I know, if he can get laid in prison, he's powerful. with a woman, and he probably can. Remember, I saw The Longest Yard. The Longest Yard. The real longest yard.
Let me just say this. I just want you guys to know, how do you feel about OJ having fringe benefits for serving his 33-year jail term?
I would have had potato skins.
See, so this, would you go?
Look, there was like a woman back there behind there.
Wait a minute.
There's like a woman right there. Ain't that a woman?
Wait a minute. PMC say
right
pimping
there.
in prison. I love it. Okay, see, my point is this. If you can be this kind of magnet, you don't think that he's getting conjugal visits, man? What do you think, Mark?
He's not married.
We're not worried about.
I thought you had to be married to get conjugal.
Well, they can get married in jail. You know that, right?
Yeah, but I don't think he is married.
Okay, well.
It's California.
Well, I'm glad we don't know, right?
They get some benefits.
All right, that's it. That's the tidbit for the OJ report for the Super Bowl. If you make media while you're in jail because you had a Super Bowl jail party, you big pimping. All right, the last one going out. If you guys recently were at a Laker game, you may have saw security and you were looking closely and recognized somebody. And somebody actually says security has to have thick mustaches. And when you have thick mustaches, that means you don't mess with me. Will Ferrell worked security at LA Lakers game. Without telling anybody, he put on the red coat. So when he put on the red coat, he couldn't help but to make sure that he knew that his name was going to be prominent and recognizing that security always has a sense of humor, or we just got unique individuals with a name that corresponds to their responsibility. Well, Will's name, while serving as security and escorting Shaquille O'Neal out because of disruptive behavior, his name was Ted Vagina. Mario.
I know Ted.
Let me just ask you.
And his brother Tap.
You watched the game. You didn't catch Will Ferrell's security, did you?
No, I didn't, because I was too busy probably attending to other things. Unfortunately. Once again, Kobe probably did this. Still hating on Shaq.
Wait a minute. Let me stop. I'm not really shocked that he would put on the red suit. Whose idea do you think it was to give him the name? Ted Vagina.
I think he thought of it all by himself.
You think he was
late one night when his parents weren't home.
Let me just stop.
That's usually when I do my thinking.
Let me stop. Let me just say this. I'm going to give this as the only category we're going to rank. Now, Trina, if you've ever joined us, we have this category where we rank, reports if it's applicable. We go, hey, big pimping, balling, something for the ladies, AARP, whatever, let down, and, of course, spank that ass if it's applicable. Mario, with Will Ferrell doing the security job, escorting Shaquille O'Neal out, as well as giving his name Ted Vagina, what category
Big
apply?
pimping. As Will always is, big pimping. Go, Will.
Wait a minute. You left
Pimp,
one.
daddy.
You left one out.
Huh? For the ladies.
There you go.
Always. That's why you get the big mustache.
And the name.
So they can ride it.
And the name. See, it was something for the ladies, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I guess.
Okay.
Ted DJ. Video jockey.
I'm sorry. I'm done, you guys. I'm getting out my new sports. I had to get out of here. I just thought it was appropriate, and I just think the story with OJ is trumping everybody right now.
That's right. Victor Allen's New Sports. Hot. Neil Urban. You can get it on New Sports TV. NewNewSports.tv. Own channel.